One childhood memory many Chinese share in common is to be measured and tested by a sport talent scout to see if we are physically gifted for any sports. Had I not been told I was too fat for gymnastics, I might have been in Paris right now. But I'm not salty about it because had Simone Biles been screened and tested like me in China, she would be doing a new kind of gymnastics, the mental gymnastics, also known as math, with me somewhere in Beijing instead of Paris. Hi everyone, my name is Wei Pu. Today I will explain why Simone Biles would absolutely suck in China and how China selects and trains female gymnasts and divers. Luck has to strike not only once but multiple times for a Chinese girl to even be selected by a sport scout. Compared to China's gymnastic or diving selection standards, the Korean entertainment industry has no standards. Like the famous Asian beauty standard, if you don't fit it, you won't be considered beautiful. And Chinese coaches also believe if you don't fit the physical standard for its respective sport, you are not trainable. Unlike the unrealistic Korean beauty standard, the Chinese sport standard is actually a real science backed by thousands of peer-reviewed papers. And with just 2 or 3 simple tools, you will know if you will be a China Simone in seconds without breaking your neck. You only need a mirror, a measuring tape, and a calculator if you're not Asian. Let me explain how to test yourself. Over the years, the standard might have evolved and changed, but what remains unchanged is Asia's #1 golden rule. Thou shalt have good looks. Yes, because looking cute is a free pass to opportunities in Asia. A future Olympian, of course, has to take advantage of that. A really good scout will even tell you to always select the cuter girls like you're in the K-pop industry. Yes, judges always favor the cuter ones, just like those netizens. So please just take out your mirror and look at your facial features as if you were prepping for a K-pop audition. Be honest with yourself. Are they symmetrical? Are they cute? Are they meeting the beauty standard? If not, sorry, you are out. And plastic surgeries do not count because we only want natural beauties to represent our country. If you watched up to this point and subscribed, congratulations, you are cute enough to proceed to the body measurement test. When I say the Chinese sports standard is scientific, it is really scientific and data-driven. For a girl to be a bouncing powerhouse, your lower body to height ratio should be between 0.50 to 0.51. Before you can call yourself the next China Simone, we will have to measure the length of your calf and thigh to make sure their proportions are correct. For men, your bust to height ratio should be around 56%. Generally, we want longer arms for gymnastics, but we want diversity. So here is the inclusive higher formula, using the distance between your fingers minus your height. If the difference is between 0 to 5 centimeters, it means your arms are short. Sorry, the only apparatus you'll be good at is the ring. 4 to 7 centimeters, you'll be a good AA athlete, perfect. 6 to 9, your arms are long, but we probably will let you train for pommel horse if you are really cute. 8 to 10, you can do floors and vault. Over 10, oh sorry, that's too long and we cannot pick you. Sorry. Does so much math and numbers make you guys dizzy? Now you know why Chinese are so good at math, right? Well, if you mess up a number, you might really miss the next Simone and cost your country's medal count. And we really cannot afford that mistake. If you're not Asian or bad at math, please just bring a calculator. And because China is not America, you're definitely encouraged to openly talk about other people's skin color or genes without being labeled as a racist. Yes, please listen up. We only want thin, small kids from thin, small couples. No fat genes in our gym. Not even recessive fat genes. You absolutely have to be paper thin. Listen, we're really not fat shaming you, it's just a kind reminder to protect your precious mental health. If you and your husband are too big and fat, please just rest at home and not bring your potentially fat kid to be tested. FYI, we won't look at you. Bye. Small but mighty. with good muscles, small hips, big hands, and feet are what we are looking for. Oh, and we Chinese do not love curves like how Americans are so obsessed with the Kardashians. Didn't you know that they would make terrible divers because big boobs and inflated asses will make a big splash? And by the way, broader and flat shoulders only. Short Achilles are a must. And absolutely no big joints or overextended arms. They're too prone to injuries. Oh, looks are not everything. And don't forget the heart. We also need your babies to be obedient, stable, resilient, tough, optimistic, very coordinated. Yes, we need a baby Jesus, sent by the gymnastic god to resurrect China's women's gymnastics. I don't know if the real Simone could measure up to our standard, but even if she did, she would still not be selected. Why? In China, coaches actually need to look at your biological parents, making sure they're not too big in order to make the final verdict. Because Simone's biological parents were really not around for coaches to observe, they would not make such a risky bet on a child who might grow out of the sport. Many people would ask, why does China impose such strict standards that would even exclude Simone? Well, simply because when your city or region only has one gym with limited coaching staff and your goal is to produce gold medalists ASAP, it's a no-brainer that you only want the best, the fittest, the strongest, with the most likelihood to medal, to train at your gym. And you do not want to risk it because training is expensive. And skill-wise, coaches intentionally look for the body and personality types that are not only suitable for China's flexibility-based training, but are more resistant to the injuries that might be caused by this type of training modality.
蹲在这就做，你恨不得蹲在这就做，每个都不用立上去的。你还挺委屈的，谁说你什么了？你今天就是想哭是吗？那就哭够了再开始练，做不好我不会给你算啊。
一到有困难，就是那个困难会比较难完成，我就会有情绪比较波动，比较大。内心我可能会有点抵触，但是我肯定会去做。
The skills of American gymnasts like Simone are built on strength and conditioning. But Chinese gymnasts and platform divers are based on high flexibility and ultra-low body weight. While strength-based training develops athletes who will be strong and well-conditioned. Flexibility training requires you to be naturally thin, lean, and flexible to begin with. Because of the two different training philosophies, Chinese gymnasts always look 3 sizes smaller than their American counterparts. And while American girls tumble and flip, Chinese girls turn and leap. Flexibility-based training is famous for producing athletes with graceful lines, precise techniques, with high difficulties. And once they hit, even Simone cannot even get to them. But unfortunately, the biggest problem with this type of training is a lot of times they do not hit. As far as the inconsistency issue, the flexibility training itself is more to blame than Chinese girls' inability to handle pressure. Flexibility training has to start young, and the training routines are way harder than strength-based training. Look at those freaking difficult turns and leaps. They're so hard on your shoulders, feet, and joint and the entire body, making your body wear out at a much quicker rate. Therefore, Chinese athletes tend to suffer from accumulated chronic tissue wear and tear injuries, whereas American gymnasts or strength-based athletes typically get more traumatic injuries like MCL, ACL tear, ruptured Achilles. Accumulated tissue wear and tear injuries are relatively more minor, and they don't put training at a complete stop. You can usually push it through with strong willpower and effective pain management. However, the intense pressure from international competitions will worsen and manifest such injuries way more, making you more likely to crumble and fall. So, maintaining a low body weight is the key and lifeline to flexibility-based training. That's why nature is your biggest enemy, not America's Simone. Once puberty hits, you gain weight, height, and curves, and you don't flip and twist as before, and the chance of injury increases too. For the strength-based athletes, puberty actually helps because it increases your muscle strength. But for flexibility-based athletes, puberty is usually a death sentence if you do not enforce draconian weight loss routines. Every day, China's diver girls have to be weighed up to 5 or 6 times a day. Everyone has a target weight according to their height. Even if she's a few grams overweight, she won't resume training until she sheds a few extra grams. China's 5 times gold medalist Chen Ruoling told the media she only ate 1 meal a day for 5 or 6 years, and her only 1 meal only consisted of a little tofu and veggies. Due to her success in controlling weight and curbing the impact of puberty, she's now the head coach of the Tokyo Olympic champion Quan Hongchan, who delivered 3 out of 5 perfect dives in Tokyo. She's not as perfect as Tokyo right now, mainly because she's too fat. And they're working very hard to drop her weight to below 88 pounds. And they really had to take a piece of cake from this 16-year-old. While flexibility training has consistency issues, puts young athletes' health at risk, and makes the Western audience feel disturbed. Why do Chinese coaches still use it? First, in Chinese ideologies, dieting and training hard for your country should be praised and is honorable. In a collective society, any personal sacrifices and hardships can be justified in front of national glory and victory. And second, and most importantly, flexibility training gives coaches much more controllability than strength-based training. Just by looking at your birth year, the coach may not know if you can go to the Olympics, but he will for sure know that you will not make it. All Chinese gymnast Olympians up to the Paris squad were either born on the Olympic year or 1 year prior. Records show no Chinese women gymnasts born in the year of 1989, 1990, 1993, 1994, 1997, and 1998 were ever selected for the Olympics. Was the old gymnastic rule that female gymnasts peak at 16 actually correct? Well, yes and no. No if you are strength-based, because flexibility training has to start very young and is much harder on your mind and body. After 10 to 12 years intense training, at 16, you usually have accumulated quite a few injuries, but not too much to negatively impact your performance. And luckily, your body is still healthy and flexible enough to pull off so many difficult skills so that you can win. However, if you were like Simone, born in 1997, a year after the Olympic year, that's not just bad, but that's the worst. By the time she's age eligible for the Olympics, she's already 19. And also she's been through the puberty and has accumulated 3 more years of injury than her 16-year-old teammate. She might have insane talents, but her body simply cannot hold it in one piece to sustain the training. Broken bones that can grow back, but once your tissues are worn out, there's just nothing you or science can do. You might feel very sorry for those athletes who were born in the wrong year or reach puberty way too soon. But coaches love this training modality because they will clearly know who to invest more and who to just let go. It's cruel, but it makes sense when you only have limited training resources and unlimited young talents, and you have huge pressure to medal. You definitely have to maximize your chance by doing this strategy. And in China, if athletes do not medal, not only the coaches will suffer, but the local government leaders will also get into trouble. Simone's Tokyo withdrawal will not affect Texas governor's re-election. However, in China, an athlete's Olympic medal does decide whether a mayor can be promoted to a governor or not. As I said before, Chinese sports are actually more political than purely athletic. Medal counts are actually important political KPIs for local sport administrators, mayors, and governors, reflecting how well they're doing. So when you medal, their political prospect gets better, and vice versa. In return, those leaders' KPIs and promotions can also determine your team's future funding and how your team treats you. So Chinese athletes really are not just competing for themselves like their American counterparts. When way too many interest groups and people's livelihood depend on the athlete, Chinese athletes would never withdraw in the middle of an Olympic game. China's swimmer Zhang Yufei competed with a high fever of over 103 Fahrenheit in the Asian Games and still won multiple golds. weightlifter Tang Gonghong successfully attempted the weight so heavy it almost killed her due to the hyper-increased blood pressure. Unfortunately, after stepping down from the highest Olympic podium, she was immediately rushed to the ER to have her life saved. Chinese athletes really bet on their lives to compete. Apart from the political pressure, they also knew the day and night difference between getting a gold and a silver medal, to medal and not to medal. For example, the 14-year-old perfect diver Quan Hongchen came from an impoverished rural family of 7, whose dad was a sugarcane farmer, mom stayed home after a car accident, and brother dropped out of middle school. After Tokyo, Quan became a household name in China. It is estimated that her yearly income right now is at least 5 million Chinese yuan, almost $1 million US. So basically, she got 1 million Chinese yuan for each Olympic dive, 5 in total. She also realized her childhood dream of diving to pay for her mom's medical bill. Today, her family is no longer poor. They moved into a much better house. Her brother went from a migration worker to a TikTok influencer, and her 2 younger siblings are also training to dive professionally. However, for the first time in history, China is sending much older gymnasts, both female and male, to Paris. Maybe China is just running out of enough talented 16-year-olds, and it seems that China's aging population and low birth rate are really threatening this pyramid-like whole nation sports system, as local coaches do not have that many kids to choose from. It will be very interesting to witness where China goes in the next decade. You don't have to root for China, but please show your support for Chinese athletes. Please share and subscribe, and I will bring something even more interesting next time. Bye bye.